Go back to what the fuck? I don't even know where I'm at, bro.
Do you ever notice that like every time we start this podcast, it gets ruined by like Niko just talking? I have. I'm Jimmy Linguini. I am the most toxic comic speculator. We're what? This is what podcast issue 20 number 24? I think we're 24. Comic Book Wars number 24. Comicbookspeculation.com. Great intro as always. Guys, introduce yourselves.
I don't even know. What am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, Sleepy John here. Yeah, pass it off to Niko. Yeah.
I'm Niko, your weekend update correspondent with comicbookspeculation.com. And I'm trying to figure out how to look at the live screen, but I'm confused. I get confused easily by technology.
Just hold a mirror up in front of your face instead.
It seems like you get confused by a lot of things. I honestly think that was our greatest intro ever, obviously. There was nothing wrong with it, except that it was probably the worst, but I'm okay with it. I mean, we've done this 24 times. You'd think we'd have it down by now. We don't.
Yeah.
Big news came out this week. Came out yesterday, I think, but it's for this week, saying that Monstrous is being part of, is optioned as part of HBO Max's catalog. There hasn't been any confirmation though on it, and it originally came out from like a few people. I don't know. Anything you guys want to say about that?
I don't. Yeah, you're right. I mean, where did it actually come from? There was just news that popped up in a couple places. Key Collector had it. One of our other sources had it, but
yeah, it came from like I got it from from this one source I have, and then I also read it on a website called Discussing Films. Now, Discussing Films has since taken the article down.
Interesting.
Which isn't really a good sign.
Never heard of that.
I have seen people saying that the news has been debunked. I'm not sure. Monstrous was already a book that had been selling really well. So I'm not.
This isn't the first time there was news about Hollywood paying attention to the book, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, everything's been a rumor so far. There's been no confirmation. But I just think that one thing I want to stress is we're really not going to know anything about HBO Max. It's all just rumors until the 29th, where they have some big conference and everything is supposed to be announced. So, and that's from Deadline.
HBO Max is new, correct?
Yeah, HBO Max is part of Disney Plus. No, isn't it?
No.
Disney. I thought they were
not
all
even close.
I thought when you subscribe to Disney Plus, you get Disney Plus, HBO Max, and ESPN. No,
maybe in Canada.
Isn't there a package that has all three of those?
Perhaps in Canada.
No,
okay, HBO is separate.
Okay, so HBO Max is, for those who are unaware, a broad cross section of television content. So in other words, you can get things like. ABC, CBS, and I'm not sure of the specific things that are under the Time Warner umbrella, but it's basically Time Warner, the parent company for DC. That's why a lot of people were shocked that Sandman went to Netflix as opposed to HBO Max, because those deals went down almost simultaneously. If you recall the news that Netflix was going to make some small screen adaptation of the Gaiman classic, that was within a matter of weeks before Time Warner started to announce the litany of shows that were going to be available under the HBO Max broad umbrella.
Such as? You got any other ones?
I don't know. You'll have to look at the weekend update. I talked about some of the big shows that were going to be on there and some of the bigger stations that you would get. But as you like to say, Sleepy, roll the tape.
Yeah, I don't recall Monstrous ever being optioned before or rumored.
There was nothing confirmed, but there was just people saying that it was going to be the next one to be rumored.
Sure. People do really like it. I've never read it. Same as like a book like Manifest Destiny. People basically were on that because they're like, oh, any day now it's going to get optioned. Here we are. Many years later, it's never been optioned. So the first print is obviously the one that most people want to get. The second print, though, after a little while, when it started to pick up, the second print got real hot because it was a little bit harder to find, and it was and still does sell better than the first print in terms of value. I don't really get it. I mean, it's a new cover, obviously. It's whatever. It's how the market is now. And then so you can tell it's the second print because it's got the gold lettering. Then there is a third print, which same cover with blue lettering. And that one doesn't sell as well as the first or second print.
Yeah, the second print one has always been the one that people seem to have gravitated towards for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to spec on that book, I think all first prints of pretty much all the issues sell well. I mean, issue 2 is a solid $20 book. Issue 3, 4, 5, I think, are also in the $10 range. So, I mean, if you can find any of these books for cover price, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was going through.
But...
Yeah, I went through it, checked my PC, what I had of them, and I had a couple copies of number 1, which surprised me. I got real cheap somehow, and then I forgot when issue 10 came out was the time when they were doing some Spawn homage covers. I think they were all Spawn. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it was. All the image titles did Spawn covers for some reason.
Yeah, it's Monstrous got Spawn number 1 homage with the woman on the cover. It's really nice. I liked it. I picked up multiple copies of that when it came out. It's pretty cool. I don't know if there's any value there, but I thought it was a book at the time that may have some value. Never really did anything. So,
the other big news from this week is pictures came out from James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
What did?
Pictures from the filming of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, so Suicide Squad 2. And some of the rumored characters have been, I guess, we're confirming who they are, or we're still guessing, right?
We're still guessing. It seemed like the research done on it seemed very good to me in terms of their costumes, and seems like they're probably all pretty spot on.
So Nathan Fillion as the Blackguard.
Yeah, Booster Gold number 1. He's right there on the cover.
I don't think there's enough silver on his costume for it to be that character.
Yeah, he doesn't have those crossbones on his his costume in this comic, so that one could still be up in there. I don't know how they associated the article that came out and said, like, here's who we think all these people are. I don't know where their source information came from, but the rest of them seem pretty spot on. So this one is still a little bit up in the air, but I don't know. Do you still think it might be Arm Fall Off Boy?
Well, I just thought that the people were gravitating towards it. I mean, I don't know if it's Arm Fall Off Boy. I mean, I notice his arms are exposed.
They're fully attached.
They're fully attached, correct.
He's got that going for him.
But they're exposed, like they could be ripped off very easily.
True.
But
true.
I do think that might be a debunked rumor. And
yeah. So what do you guys think
I guess when I wrote the article, I said tread carefully. I said it was a book to be selling, not to be buying. I believe.
Oh, absolutely. It still is selling too.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a book that if you can find it, and again, if you look at the arm fall off guy, yeah, it doesn't really match the costume at all, except that he has the exposed arms.
Right. What were you saying, Niko?
Well, what do you guys think the characters that will actually make it are, and the characters that won't? Because they're going to whack about 15 of them.
So the next one John put together, because Sleepy John put together the slideshow because he's amazing. He also did the whole outline. So I just want to.
I'll be in Baltimore. I did nothing. I'm here for emotional support.
Okay.
So if anybody's at Baltimore Comic Con, hit Niko in the ribs one time.
The next one is Pete Davidson. Apparently, he plays Birds of Prey. I mean, these two characters do look very similar, so I could see it. What? You're telling me that he doesn't play that girl?
What are you talking about?
Who is that?
Take the chat thing down and you can see.
I don't want to take the chat thing down. I want to look right at
all the text I put.
Oh, that. Oh, I apologize.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That was a mistake. Let's do another one. 6. See, yeah, look, Ultra Maximus agrees. I think that this is a great casting of Davidson.
No, it's a character named Savant who, why, I don't know. What? Like, okay, so there's our first two possibilities: Blackguard and Savant. We all know them, right? Okay.
Savant.
Moving
No one
on.
cares.
We don't know any of those characters.
Now this one we all know, of course.
What?
Sentry, Marvel's
Who's
Sentry.
Lulu Borg?
Lula Borg.
Yeah, who's
I have
that?
no clue. I had to look that one up. I did not recognize the actor at all.
What do you think about the hair, Jimmy?
Well, he plays somebody who shoots yellow stuff at people, and it goes all, it gets all sticky.
Come on.
What do you mean, come on? This is an image you put. I don't know what this is. What is it? So his first appearance is Green Lantern 173.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's
We-
an obtainable
we-
book. I think
we
these are all
probably,
obtainable books if you jump on them fast enough.
We probably have all have these in our collections because we're fans of the characters.
No, these are
Next.
dollar books, of course. Okay, so the next one is this one has surprised me too. Sean Gunn plays Weasel.
If he lasts more than 10 minutes, I'll be shocked.
I
Look
just
how
love
fat
this
he is.
picture of Sean Gunn. Is that not the most flattering picture you could probably get? He's probably going to use that for his IMDb profile picture.
I was thinking maybe his Twitter or what's it called? What, Jimmy? What's that thing you're going to use?
Cameo?
Cameo. Yeah. No, that's not it. Tinder. Tinder. That's it.
Mailing. No, for you it's Grinder. Mailing Nig, and she plays Mongol, whose first appearance is Showcase 95.
Are you making me a profile?
Mongal.
Yeah, you know it. Mongol.
Mongal.
Okay.
She is the daughter of Mongol. From
she's the Spectre
also a book
Arsenio
that
Hall.
no one has.
Yeah.
But no,
Once.
I see these are dollar books.
Oh, every
True.
one of these has been.
These books are very obtainable.
The problem
Booster
with these
Gold.
books are that I will see them, and who the fuck could remember to pull them out of a box?
Well, that's why you're supposed to take pictures of them and remember them. What are you doing?
It's just
Niko
not that
will
important to me.
Niko will find them for $1, and he'll be like, get a big stack of them, and
then
then
forget to sell
leave them. He'll leave them at home and forget.
Basically.
I should have brought those. Okay,
Is
so
that
back
it?
to
Yeah,
your
that's it.
earlier
That's it. Okay.
question.
So yeah, those
Niko.
are the five main standouts of the new characters that they possibly are. They still are unconfirmed, but I mean they seem likely. Except I mean I don't think the Pete Davidson. I don't think he's playing a lady.
Oh.
So that's the only one that I don't understand.
It's called a character swap update.
Luck be a lady tonight.
But I think these are good. I thank you for putting that together, John. What do you think about that, Niko? Do you think these are probable?
I think they're spot on, and if I can remember to pull those out of dollar bins, I will. But the problem is then I will fail to sell them. And they will go in the long list of books that will end up back in my dollar bins in this revolving dollar bin economy where I leave hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on the table.
You know, these pictures remind me of was when when the Titans DC show pictures came out, and people were like, "Man, these characters look like trash." And then the show came out, and they're like, "Whoa, this show is the most amazing show ever." Maybe Jimmy might have had that sentiment. Yeah.
So the other big news that came out is that
What?
Lenny
That's it?
Kravitz's daughter is supposed to be playing Batgirl or something.
Oh my god.
Catwoman.
Yep.
Isn't she the reason that Lisa?
She's playing Batgirl.
Yeah, isn't
Wait,
that
no, she's
isn't that
not.
why like the
What are you
Cosby
talking
Show
about?
started going downhill because of her? I agree.
Don't
Lisa
don't
Bonet?
shame her
That's
for her
her mom.
substance.
Because Lisa
abuse
Tomei got
disorder.
pregnant and then whatever. The fact is that's the story. So she's playing Catwoman. That's great.
Yeah.
So her
I hope
first
I can sell
appearance,
my Adam Hughes Catwoman books.
first appearance is obviously Batman 1 as Selena Kyle. First Silver Age appearance is Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane 70.
Which
So,
is
I
a pretty
mean-
popular book because nobody's buying Batman #1, obviously.
Yep, and that book presses really well.
Yeah, I mean
Batman
this book has been
#1?
selling really well. This book's been really high the last few years. It's been going on a steady flow. So
Absolutely.
seems to be a good book. What's the next one? Yeah, and then all these Adam Hughes books are obviously good ones to be grabbing as well.
Got any of those, Niko? You gonna sell them up?
Dude, I think I got a box of them, as you're well aware.
Are they in your dollar bin stuff?
No, but if I don't sell them soon, and after this movie's over, they'll be back in my unsellable back issues.
Oh, okay. I'll come over and buy them for $1 a piece.
Jesus.
Your
Why
dad,
you gotta
right?
take it? He tries to take advantage of his friend.
Oh,
Who would
speaking
do
of
that?
books, I
What?
speaking
You said
of
you're gonna
books
put
I
them
bought.
back in your bins.
Oh my god.
Speaking of books I bought from Niko, next up we got
Ouch.
some possible possible characters that may show up in the WandaVision show. So they said they're talking about some children showing up in the WandaVision show. In the Young Avengers series, there's an origin story for two characters, which are Scarlet Witch's uh, children that were basically. That's kind of weird. I was asking Niko if he ever read this. Jimmy, did you read that original Young Avengers series?
No.
The Kang story? It's a good story, dude.
Yeah, it's just there's just some weird things that happen in it, like the origin of these two guys, Speed and Wiccan, or he's called Asgardian most of the series. Then they changed to Wiccan later. Um, they are manifestations from souls from a deal that Scarlet Witch did with Mephisto
Sound like the
create
plot
these.
of
Alf.
the TV show, the forthcoming TV show. Shocker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The
So
multiverse of madness.
Yeah. So you're thinking
Here
this
comes
could be
Mephisto.
true.
I would be shocked if this isn't how this all shakes out. I think they'll introduce Mephisto there, parlay him into Silver Surfer down the line, and I wish I had that Silver Surfer number 3 in high grade when it was affordable.
Yeah.
They're still pretty reasonable if you can catch them raw at shows, but giant size books, as you're well aware, are a pain in the ass to grade. I mean, it's just like all over the board with them. And I tend to undergrade them.
Yeah, you're an undergrader, overgrader. I agree.
Yeah, overgrader, undergrader.
Undergrader, overgrader. Yeah.
So the one son is Speed. Asgardian's first appearance is in Young Avengers #1. Speed comes in later, and they bust him out of jail to join their team to fight Kang. And his first appearance is in Young Avengers #10. It's got a Kate Bishop cover, and then he takes the name in 12.
The name of Speed?
Of Speed, yeah. He basically comes in at the end and is like, "I'm here, guys," and he calls Kate Bishop Hawkeye, and she kind of questions the name Hawkeye ? And that's where Young Avengers 12 is where some people say it's first time Kate Bishop is Hawkeye, and obviously first time that Speed takes the name. So those Young Avengers 12 is what I bought off of Niko. Bought a bunch of copies off him. Thanks
How many?
for those again. A nice handful. I think 3. What was the deal, Niko? Buy 2, get 1 free?
Yeah.
You still
That
had
was
about
for the record, and that was also before I didn't reprice them. So for whatever reason, people just don't buy books from me at shows. I think they talk to me and they're like, "This guy's an asshole," and leave. And then at the end, as long as John's there, he'll go through and just clean me out of everything that I haven't repriced. So not only do I not sell anything,
I wouldn't say that.
Oh.
Keith's buddy also cleaned you out of.
I forgot. Yeah, there's a couple of my other friends. Is that the word I use for them? Friends?
Our other podcast friend Keith, his buddy and business partner, cleaned out.
Yeah, he sometimes hammers me as well, which makes me happy. So I got that going for me.
Buy a hot dog at the next show if I ever sell any of them.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Other big news that came out this week, I guess it came out today, at least Key Collector alerted me of it today, is that Shriek is supposed to appear in Venom 2.
Deadline.
Now, Venom 2 is directed by that guy, Golem, right?
Oh, is it?
Capture Man.
Isn't Andy Serkis?
Motion Capture Man. Andy Serkis, yeah.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what that means, and we'll see where this goes. But this
I
book
hope
has
he's in
been
the movie
quite a bit today.
Did you guys ever read the Deadpool vs. Carnage series? Remember that one? It was before they did Carnage versus everybody or whatever, Deadpool versus everybody. Shriek was Carnage's girlfriend in the whole series, and Deadpool ends up killing her. It was a really good series. They were like Bonnie and Clyde. They were going across the country just randomly killing people, and Deadpool was sent to find them and stop them. Basically, it was a pretty good series. Little quick 4-issue series.
Yeah.
And that is probably the impetus for the who's the guy that everybody's they're on his jock. They're like so and so the tipster, and he has like a Facebook group.
Charlie Chaplin, something like that.
I can't remember his
Charlie,
name, but anyway,
Charlie something.
he suggested apparently that Deadpool is going to be the post-credit scene for
no way.
What? Yeah, the Black Widow movie. I was
I thought you were gonna say the Venom movie because that's Sony.
They did say that the next one's going to be rated R, and it's going to continue. So,
but where was that set at? Do you remember?
Unlimited.
Who's
like the guy? Who's the guy? The one dude that stole
Ryan
Jimmy's
Reynolds.
show. No, I'm a fan of his podcast. Remember, they always talk. They got two tipsters. The one that they knew by name, and the other with the pseudonym.
Nope, don't remember what you're talking about.
No, fuck.
No.
Anyway.
No. But yeah, so I think that's cool. Spider-Man Unlimited 1, great book. I mean, you might still be able to get them for bargains. I doubt it. I mean, ever since Marvel launched a $1 reprint issue, this book has been very scarce.
You know what?
So who knows?
What's odd about it too is
she's a million copies and people pay top dollar for it.
Well, she was in the new Absolute Carnage stuff, and I guess I don't know. A month ago, I would have said would be weird that Marvel would do the Absolute Carnage stuff with her in it if Sony was going to use her in a movie. But now that they're all patched up, I guess it doesn't matter. So.
The other big rumor that came out this week, which I guess is like really, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like it should be assumed that General Ross and Betty Ross are supposed to appear in the She-Hulk TV show. Now, I would have assumed General Ross would have appeared in it.
Why him?
Bring back Liv Tyler.
Because he's a main character in the Hulk series, and if you go back historically to Hulk #1 and stuff, he's a main character. So I could
What's
see him
that have
being
to do with She-Hulk, though?
Is Liv Tyler single?
Nothing whatsoever. But I could see, I just see General Ross being a main character in the Hulk universe, so it makes sense to have him in it. That's just my opinion of it.
Is Liv Tyler still single?
I don't know.
Do you think she would care about me on that dating app profile you're going to set up for me?
What the hell? Is it some kind of comic book related dating?
I thought we were talking about setting you up a Grindr account earlier. I don't know what
we weren't talking about your fantasies about me. We were talking about like some practical, hard-hitting facts here.
Some of these Hulk #1s that we're selling this week, like Jimmy said, I agree. This doesn't mean anything about Hulk or Thunderbolts or anything.
And that's why I didn't write about it. Like I was like, oh, that's a great article, but then I was like, wait a second, General Ross and Betty Ross, like they're not modern spec at all. So unless there's any confirmation,
interesting you say. Go to the next slide. Yeah, it could be the Thunderbolts, and the next slide is Betty Ross, who she first became Harpy, who was very big, not very big, but she caused a little bit of a stir in the new Immortal Hulk series as came back as Harpy and Red Harpy. Yeah. And she was also the Red She-Hulk at one point. Again,
I can't give away those books now. They were hot for a minute.
Yeah, I sold them right when that stuff popped up.
Add that to the long list of books that are going to end up in my dollar bin after I pulled them out of dollar bins.
So again, I agree with Jimmy. I'm not really sure any of these books matter.
It'd be cool though.
Maybe in a season 2. I don't think they do it in a season 1, but who knows?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much: if they show up on an episode, all those books will sell again.
100%.
I wouldn't go running out paying market for them now, but if you got them, at least there'll be an opportunity.
The other news that came out in September that I only started talking about this week because I didn't realize it happened. Tom Hanks, and it's Variety announced it, but Tom Hanks is supposed to play Major Matt Nelson in a TV show, or not a TV show, in a movie by Paramount and Mattel, which I think is pretty cool. Some people are saying this is the first appearance of the character. This is an advertisement that appeared in a slew of DC comics in 1968.
Even Topher's not that whacked out. What are you talking about?
No, Topher wrote a bunch of comments on the website saying I was wrong and that this is clearly sequential art. But I disagree.
Okay,
And,
I misspoke. I'm sorry. He is in fact that whacked out.
But
What's
I
the
think
right
I
one?
think the first appearance is the Major Matt Nelson big
Yeah.
little book. But because again, this is sequential art. It's not an advertisement that appeared in DC books because no story is being told here. Like nothing is being conveyed here except items that you can buy. Whereas here, an actual story is being told. Sure, text is on one side, but on the other side is
I can't believe you're arguing this
illustrated
point.
art.
That the
I'm
other
just
one's
telling you
fucking
that's
stupid.
why I believe this is sequential art, whereas I believe this is not sequential art
It's
whatsoever.
ridiculous.
And that's why I think this is the real comic book appearance.
Obviously, the only normal sort of. I mean, what the,
I'm just saying what I want. I like that you took the pictures from the website though, because I took a picture of him where he's going to shoot like a sea lion in space or something.
Jeez,
And
man.
but there's also these really cool coloring books that were published by Whitman that came out in 1969 that seem to get a huge amount of money, even if they're all colored in. So that's something else to keep in mind. Major Matt Nelson.
Nice.
Which again started out as a toy, and then I think this might be, if you're looking for the first appearance of it, which is stupid, but if you are, it would be this big little book, and they're like this big. So good luck with that.
They're bigger than that. Well,
No,
these ones might
it's
be a little bit
literally
older.
it's this big.
Oh,
It's
okay.
this thick. It's
what are we talking
250
about now? I feel like we're
pages.
talking about Jimmy's grinder profile again. It's fucked up.
No, we're talking about this book. Stop it.
So it's
whatever,
like
man.
a digest almost.
Yeah, they're
Because-
hardcovers.
The first Bumblebee is actually in a big little book as well from Transformers.
Yeah, and
remember
that
when Bumblebee had that movie and nobody was looking for that book? Yeah.
That came out in the 80s though, right? Whereas this one came
Yeah.
out in the 69, 68.
Probably.
So
yeah.
that's why it's a big little book. So whatever.
Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
it. And then the other big news that I wanted to talk about,
Whoa,
this is something else
look
I
at
added
that.
to the thing, was that
That's
Kevin
intense.
Feige is the head creative director at Marvel Comics, allegedly today. I tried to use a bald picture of him, but it was very hard to find like a really
The
good
champ is
picture.
here.
So, yeah.
So what does that mean?
It just means that like the comic books are probably going to tie in more towards the movies and the TV
That's
shows.
exactly what
I don't
that
think it means anything right now. I think it means something maybe in 6 months, and I think that you should be keeping a look
No.
at previews and see what happens. It means nothing right now. What do you mean no?
Are you
Okay, I'm
sure?
listening.
Are you sure
What-
he's a creative director at Marvel Comics, not Marvel
Yes.
Studios?
It's at Marvel.
Pretty sure I
In
thought it
general.
said Marvel Studios.
What does that mean?
The TVs and shows and the movies are different than the comic books.
Yeah, no, everybody's reporting that he's in charge of the comics now.
Oh, okay. Well, I would take another look at that just to like double check.
I would get rid of the word comics and studios. He's
He's the chief creative officer.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The champ is here
Well,
Stop
basically
saying
what it.
fucking
Why are you
wait.
doing that? Stop.
because this guy's like basically.
Yeah, so it pretty much means
the Godfather.
so. According to Deadline, this means
All hail the
he will
Godfather.
now oversee the creative storytelling direction of not just the movies, but all TV, animation, and publishing efforts.
Oh,
So,
publishing. Okay,
that's
throwing
why-
publishing in there.
He's the creative director at Marvel, I would say. Who knows? Do what you want to do. But yeah.
So who's getting fired then? Jeff Loeb?
I think it's Joe Quesada, no?
Oh. And Jeff Loeb was doing the TV show stuff. Because remember with the Ghost Rider show and Feige wanted to use
Do you want me to
Ghost
sing my
Rider.
next song?
Yeah, you want me to... Whoa. This guy
Yeah.
is...
It's fucking great news.
Does
This
not
is
add anything to the
incredible
podcast.
news
This is why we have him on.
because of my. I sing like I've got the voice of an angel.
Other news that came out this week is Marvel is considering Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't know what that means. He was kick-ass.
Remember him? He was
Yeah,
kick-ass.
I also remember him as Quicksilver.
He was?
Yeah, he was Quicksilver for one of the movies, and then first it was Evan Peters, then it was Aaron Taylor Johnson, then it was Evan Peters again.
Yeah, I like the Evan guy. He was good. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So who
yeah,
knows
I
what
don't
that
know
means, where that's going.
There's another guy they're talking about too.
Oh, sorry, I
maybe
thought
for
you were going to say
some time.
more about.
No,
Aaron
I got
Taylor
nothing because
Johnson.
I really don't know the guy.
Well, he's in a movie that's coming out called My Little Pieces, based on that Oprah book. You remember that book? And his wife directs it. You remember the guy went on Oprah, and then it turned out like it was and then it turned out the book was completely fake because it was supposed to be like about his life or whatever, and he was like, yeah, anyways, it was about him going to rehab or something. Anyways, that should be cool. But I don't know if this rumor's true or what it means. The other one is that Marvel's considering Vin Diesel for something that isn't Groot. But again,
I don't know about those. So the thing that was interesting to me, yeah. So go to the next.
I don't even know what the fuck's going on. Can we go back like a couple things and talk about things that are actually important as opposed to you just running through the fucking shitty news? Yeah, that one. That's the one that's fucking actually important. I don't give a fuck.
What do you want? I said, what do you want to say about this?
I don't give a shit about. That's not what I said at all.
You were singing a song.
Yeah, because I was filled with joy.
Okay, go on.
And because I sing like an angel.
Okay, so what do you think this means for Marvel and as far as we're concerned, speculation wise?
Yeah, let's talk about that, right? So here's why this is big news. We've seen plot lines develop on film from print media at an increasingly high rate. In other words, you're seeing, for example, Jason Aaron's Jane Foster run of Thor being pushed to the big screen quick. What I think this means is that the Marvel print and Disney streaming and then, big budget box office films are going to be inextricably linked. And it makes the interrelationship between television, film, and comic book spec stronger than ever. It's time to this tells me double down on my Marvel TV and film spec with newer projects. And I think, this is like something that tells me we're going to be seeing foreshadowing of what we're going to see on Disney streaming television shows and on the big screen quick. And I think Jimmy's right about the window that we got to pay real close attention over the course of the next 6 to 9 months because we'll start to see the breadcrumbs. However, the Fantastic Four starts to move in comics is probably how they're going to develop in film. If Annihilus comes back, if Korvac comes back, I expect to see them, for sure on the big screen. I think you're just going to see a lot of foreshadowed plot lines, and I think it's just a great opportunity to make some cash on Marvel Comics.
You think he brings back Russo's to do Secret Wars? Since they've basically said 10 times that they want to do that.
I've been saying that for about a year now.
Because basically,
but I think it's inevitable. The only thing I can't decide on is whether or not they do the Beyonder story or they just roll it straight out. I don't know how you do God Doom without first introducing the Beyonder, but I think it's a Doom story. And I think Doctor Doom becomes the biggest MCU bad guy ever. That they introduced Galactus first, right? And then when Doom makes Galactus look like a punk, he becomes the king of all villains.
Yeah, because Doom was good in the Secret Wars. Or he was on the good side, right?
Well, in the original Secret Wars, but God Doom, the Battle Worlds Doom, it's a different storyline.
The new one?
I think they'll do some amalgamation of both.
So we're gonna get the Wolverine Hulk? Isn't that where he came out of? Yeah, that'd be sweet. Okay. Well, thanks for the input on that.
Jimmy?
So yeah, back to Vin Diesel.
Good job, Jimmy.
Marvel.
Way to go. No one gives a fuck about the Inhumans Vin Diesel.
First of all, time out.
Why are you saying Inhumans?
John put together
because that's the news.
John put together this slideshow, okay? So I don't know if you're paying attention to this slideshow, but he wants us to look at these pictures of Vin Diesel, okay? So that's I'm just going along with what he
photographs. That's right.
So
yeah, it's Bloodshot right there, bro.
You put a lot of pictures of him up. Okay, so anyways, yeah.
I do think it's interesting. Go back. I do think it's interesting that
The bicycle.
if they are really talking to him right now,
John Slideshow is the best part of this podcast.
do you think?
Know that
Do you
in your
think
heart.
that? Do you think that means the Bloodshot movie is going to be good? Like, why would they be talking to him when the trailer is impending in like 2 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it might.
They've heard some news that maybe it's going to be good, and they want to get him before it comes out.
But personally, I think the Bloodshot movie is going to be trash. And if you heard the news recently, DMG has recently been delisted by the Chinese government.
Yeah. Did they finally get delisted?
Yes.
Yeah. Well.
So what does that mean? I don't know.
No more Valiant.
Are they still making Valiant comics?
Yeah, they are. They are, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
So who knows what that means?
When they go into receivership, do you think like somebody else could buy them? I hope Dinesh buys them.
We'll see what happens.
Do our podcast.
He probably could.
I doubt he'll do our podcast, but it comes out in February, so
he likes me. We're friends. I've never met him before, but in my mind, I imagine that we could maybe be friends.
Who is this? Who's the Bloodshot movie? Is it Sony?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have any of the other Valiant properties anymore.
It was when it was originally
Paramount's got Harbinger, right?
When it was originally announced, it was supposed to be a joint universe, and Harbinger Wars was supposed to come in. This is where we have our live PD crossover moment.
Old Toyo Harada for the win.
But now that Paramount announced their Harbinger Wars or their Harbinger film, who knows what that means? I think it's pretty much dead in the water. I don't think it means
sold.
But we'll see. Yeah. What else is going on? Other news that came out this week? Was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on about this?
I mean, I really like those photos.
I was just saying that are either of them candidates for Nova? Possibly. I don't know about Vin Diesel, but I could see the other guy being Nova.
Who's Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Yeah.
Why not? Rumors coming out that says that Marvel is apparently putting a Nova movie in active development. So what does that mean? Who knows what's happening? It means
I'm going to sell the 3
Nova is in the
one I've had sitting in my boxes.
In the marvelous tradition of Spider-Man. Oh yeah, what are they priced at? I'll buy them right now. Don't reprice them. I'll buy
them. Why's it got to be like that?
Throw in those Hughes books for $1.
Yeah. Listen, I'm coming over in like a few months. Don't touch anything. Yeah, so Nova's apparently entering the MCU, so we'll see what that means. We'll see if anything happens with that. I mean, we talked about that last week, right? I feel like we did. We had images of like Sam.
Yeah, I was just saying, could maybe one of those two guys be Nova?
We were making fun of the nonsense about Frankie Ray.
I don't think it could be this guy. But yeah, it could be this guy. But yeah, probably not this guy.
No,
doesn't have Nova hair, has Nova hair. Nope. Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, John Travolta doesn't have hair, and we all know what they do with him in movies. So who knows? Who knows?
Niko? Who did you hear is Vin Diesel? Why are you saying Inhumans?
I think they've got him doing some sort of Inhumans bit for the Kamala Khan.
He's thinking Black Bolt
TV show.
You're thinking
why would Vin Diesel be on a TV show?
You're thinking Black Bolt.
No, he's thinking Maximus or whatever his name is.
Yeah, well, they said that all the characters are going to cross over into movies. So
yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, but I think I'm trying to. Dude, I swear I read that somewhere.
He would be good as Black Bolt. I could see that.
I don't know. Michael Keaton is rumored for this new Crisis on Infinite Earth, so
they could just body paint Vin Diesel as Black Bolt.
Somebody might have told me that. I might not have read it. Everybody's got Google. You can Google it.
Not the Vin Diesel on the balcony, but like Vin Diesel from Triple X.
Yeah, the one on the bike. Yeah.
Yeah, like Bloodshot body, not like the balcony body.
I'm pretty sure that's Jay, the Power Ranger guy with Vin Diesel superimposed
Vin Diesel's head on it. Yeah,
yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's I think it's just his face, honestly, because I think the hair is still the hair from the Power Ranger guy.
What's weird about that? They have not released any images of Vin Diesel as Bloodshot.
Yeah, they have.
No,
yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. They have 100%. They have. They released
him with the sunglasses.
No, wrong. Okay, so they released that, but they also released the Todd McFarlane McFarlane toy statue
yeah.
of Bloodshot, and he's completely bald. So
Well,
that's
what
what he's
about
supposed to
Vin
look like.
Diesel over there on the bicycle, looking like the guy from Friday that fought Hulk Hogan in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one
Okay,
movie?
what else is going on? So,
What are you talking about?
for the Wednesday Warrior, I guess we'll get into that this week. I mean,
Are there any left?
of what Wednesday Warriors? There should
Yeah.
be. This
Yeah.
week seems to be kind of light on comic book spec, but we'll
Kind
get
I
of
into
didn't
it.
even make it to the shop.
I think there's a few books that you might be happy with. Yeah, so the Absolute Carnage number 4, 1 in 25 variant seems to be hitting $30 to $35. Who knows where it will be at next week? It is pretty cool. That's what Anti-Venom, who's been absolutely carnageized.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
pretty
I
cool.
don't think any of these type of books have any sustaining value. It's crazy now. Like these things don't even last a week. I don't think.
Yeah, so we'll know.
You know,
Black
it's bad
cover.
enough. It's bad enough with the independents that drop, but I don't think the Marvel ones do that well either.
It's not.
But they're
it's not-
selling.
It's not good news. The other big news that came out is Captain Marvel 11. Is this the first appearance of Dark Star?
I have no clue what that character
Because at
was
the
supposed
end
to
of
be.
Key Collector leaked out the last page, and it shows Star or Ripley Ryan saying that she is the she's one of the she's the Reality Stone, right?
Yeah,
So I thought that meant she was like a stone. I don't know if
I
that
have
means
no
she's the Dark
clue.
Star, but there is a secret variant for Captain Marvel 12, which is here, and I mean we're gonna find out what that is. And they did say there's a Dark Captain Marvel, so it's possible that that's who Star becomes, I guess.
Time out.
no,
What? That's like not this week.
Yeah, Captain
that's-
Marvel 12 is the next issue, right?
Huh.
Captain Marvel 11 is this week. And
Yeah,
the
do I
last,
care
last-
about 11?
Yes, because the last page would be the first appearance. What are you like? Do you pay attention to anything we ever talk about?
jeez, I've talked about this book for 2 months.
I don't know why you're being like this right now. Actually,
I thought that was
It's funny.
12.
Yeah,
No, I
and
kept-
the
I
last
kept
issue-
saying-
the last page of 11 is where she says that she is the whatever, man. I'm like whatever.
You know how this shit goes with
You
Kamala
are
Khan
annoying.
and her first appearances? I mean, it's just like, I don't know which one the market will pick.
How does that go?
Well, there's like the one with her arm.
Jimmy, what's going on over there? You looking all around?
I'm astonished at this.
It's like 14 and 17.
Yes. All right, moving on.
It's very similar to the 11, 12.
This guy.
Oh, sorry.
So what did you want to say about Captain Marvel 12, John?
Oh,
Anything?
no, just that. Yeah, that's the next one.
There's a
I don't
secret
know.
variant where she's unmasked, so that's where I would assume we're gonna find out who she looks like, but Marvel hasn't released that image yet, and I'm assuming that it's Star. So who knows? We're gonna find out.
Could be.
Oh yeah, here it is.
There's.
There she is saying that she is the Reality Stone. So that's why you should care, because if she is the Reality Stone, this is her first appearance as the Reality Stone. Niko.
Yeah, what's that mean? Who knows?
Niko.
That must be what gives her the power to suck Captain Marvel's powers, though.
Yeah, but like that
She's-
also means that she's some kind of like Thanos thing, no? Or infinity
What?
gauntlet thing. If she's the Reality Stone,
Yeah, I don't know. No clue what
it's
it means.
confusing.
There's her first appearance, though.
See, Nico, I wish you paid attention to the things we talked about in the chat, so you would know what we're talking about now.
Let me try to explain them to you. Yeah, 12's the book.
12 may be the book, but 12 has a 1 in 25 variant. It has
High
it has
print run.
numerous store variants, and this issue
Super high print run.
obviously is the first appearance of her as the Reality Stone. I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, I'm not saying 12 isn't the book. I'm just saying like this is obviously the first appearance of her as the Reality Stone. I mean, the book isn't selling, but who knows? Other book that
I'll
comes
see.
out this week is Crazy One, with an Obnoxio the Clown cover. Who cares?
I like
This,
Obnoxio.
I feel like this was a really tough week to get anything. His first appearance, obviously, is the one shot with X-Men.
Mhm.
So that's going to be going through the roof, obviously.
It'll be $2
It's a
instead of
dollar. It's a
$1.
dollar book. Another Marvel book is X-Men 1 comes out this week. So I know that a bunch of stores are having parties, and there's a party variant, and there's going to be a bunch of one per store variants.
Can we talk about the Hickman mini series and how they all wound up? Is it too early for that? Or
Hawks and Pox. Yeah, there's a midnight release party for this week, so it'd be tonight. Are you guys leaving after the podcast to go to your
I'm
store?
gonna run over there right now. Can't wait.
We're gonna have cake and balloons. Yeah, so this is the first issue to roll out from the House of X and Powers of X. What was your thoughts on where that ended up at, Niko? You read them all?
I did, and really enjoyed it. That being said, it was like you could have quit after the second issue. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a lot that happened.
You're saying because of how it ended up?
Correct. You got extra details, but there wasn't a lot of forward momentum on the plot, which is what I sort of had. Well, it's what I predicted they were going to do, and it makes it really exciting for me. I think Moira becomes the standout star of the two miniseries, and the phalanx are hard. I've got to crack open those books and figure out what exactly the book is, because there's about 3 that are arguably the first appearance. And then, the Nimrod book, it looks like those also have not moved at all. But I like both of those as longer term plays.
Omega Red picked up a little bit, it seemed.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of controversy about who's going to get that last seat on the council, and I think a lot of movement on. We talked a little bit about it on the Facebook group. The Exodus character, he was getting a lot of attention within the text of the book, but like you're not seeing a lot of movement on any of these characters in the secondary market. And I think, at least from where I'm sitting, if particularly following this move to put Feige atop Marvel Publishing as well as television and film, that if I'm a betting man, the way they tell this story on the big screen, because it shores up all the plot lines and loose ends and the extraneous films, they tell this, out non-sequential Moira McTaggart story, where it opens with that scene that we saw in issue 2 and then in issue 6 of her meeting Charles on a park bench, and then they just flash around and tell 1,000 stories out of that.
So,
and that's a big deal, I think.
They're continuing the Krakoa storyline, obviously, here by this Art Germ cover where they're coming through the portal to Krakoa. They're going to continue that in X-Men? No?
Yeah.
You got any insight? No? Yeah?
I mean, I didn't read the book. I didn't pick it up yet, but I think the insight is this.
Where it left off.
It's the mutants always lose. Like, humanity always loses, mutantdom always loses, like the heroes always lose. Time story is the most fucking phenomenal idea. I think it's got like Matrix big kind of potential for a big screen series of a half a dozen films or more, and it allows you to do the time jumps and just kind of tell these stories out of time, with McTaggart being the linchpin that ties it all together. And I just think it was smart the way they did it, and you never quite know where you're at, in which timeline you're in, so you don't really have to worry about the other events that are happening in the MCU proper. And then mutants can have their own separate universe, half on Krakoa and then half in this like out of time story. So you get the House of X, Powers of X kind of like timelines for television and film stories. And I think that's just genius.
Are all the other characters that are in these other spin-off series in those 2 books? I don't think they all were.
No,
like Excalibur,
no,
Fallen Angels, and whatnot. So
right, the Marauders, etc. Yeah, no. I mean, it's even a different version of Marauders. But I just think it's neat, and it will allow Disney to kind of separate mutants, right? How they described them, as like a separate thing. Kind of like a socio-political intergalactic space opera. I think you're going to see them tell that story of how they created and tweaked Cerebro with Gladiator and the Starjammers and the Shi'ar Empire. We've already seen a lot of attention on Uncanny 107, and some of the insiders scooped the involvement of Gladiator well before the conversation with Professor X and Gladiator within the pages of the book. So the dots are they're starting to line up for me.
Is this book doing anything anymore? Excalibur 31? No?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know that it ever
remember.
was doing anything. I don't even know what that book is, but
It was like a $15-$20 book. If
Why?
you had it the day it got hot.
Yeah, why?
That one I cannot tell you.
because apparently it does all the things Hickman did except first or something. I don't know. Who cares? Hickman
It was
sucks.
in
Who
the
cares?
same.
I don't care. Who cares? It's good. I like that
think
you
it
guys are in.
I think it was the same issue where Gold Balls appeared again. Is it something to do with?
Word. Gold Balls. Another book that comes out this week is Batman 81. It has a nice Matina cover. It shows Bane breaking the back because it's from the City of Bane story, and that again is obviously a homage of
Nice
Batman
homage.
487. Yeah.
And they're doing a replica version of this.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? They're doing a
Absolutely.
replica of the Kelly Jones book this week too.
Oh, a $1 issue of it, or a
Yeah,
facsimile one or whatever?
facsimile, I think. Apparently, DC's doing those now too. What
Another
about
book.
this book, Jimmy? Does this say anything?
Well, I noticed I can't see any on eBay right now, and I noticed a bunch of copies sell, and you don't usually see I think it was 50 copies sold in pre-sale so far. So,
Jeez.
Rock and Roll Biographies 15 Guar. I posted it on the Guar page, and then one of the members of the band said that they were going to send a cease and desist because it's unauthorized. But I
You
think
posted on what Guar page? Their Facebook?
Yeah, I think the cover is pretty solid. So I'm definitely going to try to pick some up. I ordered a few online. Obviously, I didn't order the 50 that or so that were pre-ordered. But
I saw. When you said this Rock and Roll Biographies, I was thinking of those 90s cheesy ass ones that had every.
Those are the original ones when they relaunched it. I believe 2 or 3 years ago. Metallica, and they did a Sun.
So 2 issues ago, number 13 is Tool, and in 9.8 it sells for over $100.
Yeah, I mean they're not.
It's not an easy book to find now, but I was still surprised because it's not even that old.
Yeah, they're Acme Ink or whatever, so you can find some of them still. But I just thought I was surprised that so many copies sold, and usually that's a good indication that there's going to be a good shelf life on it. So
yeah,
it's a book to think about. Do whatever you want. Obviously, I'm biased because I did a Guar variant for another Guar book, and that I still sell tons of.
Was yours authorized?
Yeah.
Was the artwork
aren't going to
authorized?
send you a cease and desist?
Yeah.
The artwork was authorized by all parties involved?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. Another one that comes out this week that seems to be moving a little bit is the Venom 18 second print, 1 in 25 variant. Apparently, Marvel is continuing the tradition of doing 1 in 25 variants for second printings. It's very lame.
We're getting closer and closer to the point where one of these is actually going to take off because people just don't give a shit anymore.
I don't think
Which is
anybody cares
exciting.
about this one, but
this one's getting close.
Is it getting close?
30. It's hitting $30 or $40. Who knows? I don't know how many.
The problem with this one is it's reused art. It's just a black and white of the. They had a regular B cover of this.
Yeah, it's garbage. But I mean, it is what it is.
I'd have to take a better look at it. It doesn't look too stellar from where I'm sitting, but it's also very small.
That Hulk book, the original one.
You hear that a lot? Is that a
It
phrase
sells
that you
for.
hear?
We're talking about your grinder profile again, aren't we, Jimmy?
That Hulk book only sells for like $60 to $70 at 9.8 now. You remember that thing was selling for $100 for all before it came out?
You should have to pay someone $60 or $70 to take that book from you. It's so ugly.
But if it's in a slab, at least you could see both sides of it.
You could use it as a weapon.
It's a coaster.
Kill a zombie, a coaster. That's another thing you can do with it.
What else we got going on? This is the week of Mad Magazine 10, which is the first time, Mad Magazine will only be available in comic book stores. So I
So
think
this is actually being distributed by DC.
yeah, DC owns Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
And is it reprinted content?
There's some new content and there's some reprinted content, but the cover's completely new. It's their special Halloween issue. I was able to pick up a few, but I'm pretty sure most of it is, in fact, reprinted content. But there is
reprinted from
like,
what old Halloween issues?
Yeah, well, older issues of Mad Magazine. But there is some newer stuff as well.
It's kind of lame. And these are, how long has Mad been a little bit smaller? Not like the big size like it used to be.
No,
for a while.
It's a magazine. It's the same size it's always been. Yeah.
Shout out to our friend Keith, who was kind enough to help me out with some books and go out of his way to make sure that I got them before Baltimore. I appreciate it more than I can explain.
I mean, like when I'm looking inside of this, one of the things in it here is an Everybody Loves to Eat Raymond story. So I have to assume that there is like a lot of reprinted material because
very
like
topical.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Everybody Loves Raymond. Is that show still on television?
No, that's the whole point. Like I don't know what that's doing in here.
It's a tough.
Oh, and then the back thing is a Frasier parody. So yeah, it's called Hell Frasier. So yeah, I think it's mostly reprinted stuff, just based on those two.
Dude, this print run for Mad Magazine is going to get so small that one of these books is going to go nuts.
Well, I think a problem is like I've told people to buy this, so I think a lot of people might have actually ordered a bunch of these. But I think that these next issues are going to be good to be grabbing. So,
yeah, before it gets canceled for good.
I don't know if it will ever be canceled. Because it still has a subscription base, and I think they'll keep printing it even if they lose money on it.
Oh, they do have a subscription?
Well, you have to remember, Warner Magazine paid quite a great deal of money to purchase Mad, so I don't see it going away anytime soon.
I will say that
we'll have to do a complete relaunch, right?
That last newsstand. No, they just renumber it every year.
No. This is the first time they did a renumbering.
Oh. That last newsstand is not selling at all. I can still find it at
issue 9. Yeah, the last newsstand copy. Yeah. So I think it's one to hold on to. I mean, also I also talked about that other book, the that Saudi Arabia Prince book that you could buy because it was propaganda. Now that book sells for $30, and you could have bought it for $5. So I think these are things that you just have to sit on.
That was National Lampoon's.
Well, no, it wasn't a National Lampoon's. It was.
Yeah, that's who published it.
No, it was
National Enquirer.
National Enquirer published it. Yes.
But it read like a National Lampoon.
Yeah, it was a funny one.
Same difference.
It was propaganda. It is what it is. But
as they say,
I just think this is a good thing to be buying and holding on to for maybe a year or two and seeing what happens. Worst case scenario, you lose $6. Who cares?
Fair enough.
Niko, you want to talk about your Golden Age market watch?
Well, this is really exciting. Very exciting. Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He invented Scrooge McDuck, and
he invented Scrooge McDuck.
That's
Carlton Banks.
That's Will Smith's cousin.
You know what I mean? He does
John did all these for you, didn't he?
Oh, Carl Barks, not Carlton Banks.
So 4-Color 9, a pretty important book historically. A raw 7.0 sold for $2,800.
Yeah, so here's the issue, right? And John so kindly points out GPA on a CGC 7.0 is what?
Double
4,200.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really examine whether or not this guy stole this book in a live auction.
Yeah, it's possible. This is always going to be. This is always going to be a key book. I'm surprised that it went for that low, but it's always a key book, and I have seen several high grade copies sell for a pretty penny.
Carl Barks did invent Scrooge McDuck, right? He was the first person to illustrate Scrooge.
Could be. I don't know. Carl Barks is a historical guy, though.
Yeah, he's famous for doing early Donald Duck illustrations, and I mean the artwork's
still
super cool.
Lots of Donald Duck stuff. Yeah, lots of duck stuff. He's into ducks. Does that seem weird? Anybody else?
What else? Anything else? Anything else about this book?
Nah.
No. This is actually the second series. I didn't realize it was second series of 4-color.
So a CGC 60 of Menace 5 sold for $2,600. Is this the first
$2,600? So
is this the first appearance of Zombie?
it's the first zombie in this Atlas series, and it has a guy's name attached to it, like he was reincarnated.
But is it the first time like
So-
Zombie is used in a comic book, or is
I'm not sure. Not sure.
so
Something to look into.
1953 Atlas?
I will. So what intrigued me about this was, Niko, you let me know what your thoughts on this theory is. All the EC stuff is starting to, it's starting to level out, but it was super hot for a long time and really just growing exponentially. It's starting to not be as crazy anymore, but it's not coming down. Prices aren't dropping. Do you think people are going for these other like Atlas kind of Charlton books that are also feature some of the same kind of stuff, just not as crazy as the EC stuff was?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily compare the Charlton and the Atlas stuff. I mean, the Charlton stuff is not, for whatever reason, nearly as desirable as the Atlas. It's just early Marvel, but early Marvel it is much more rare than EC books, and you just don't see this particular book or really any of the Menace books in halfway decent shape at all, or really any Atlas like horror books in any decent shape at all. I mean, people tended to take a little bit better care, I think, of superhero titles than they did early Marvel horror. What's particularly interesting is that like these books, that early Marvel horror stuff, Overstreet always lists them as the key pre-code horror books, not what we think about like Chamber of Chills 19 or Black Cat 50, or what I mean when they list their top 10 horror comics. And I don't think we've seen like a lot of explosive growth in those pre-Marvel books. But now people are starting to pay attention to them. I mean, you saw what went on with the Black Knight one, which
is an Atlas book,
right? A pseudo superhero kind of tale, and I think people are starting to pay more and more attention to that kind of stuff. And I think people are particularly just hot on Marvel.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Because I wouldn't say there's anything like spectacular about this cover, simply for the fact that it does have a horror appeal to it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the roads aren't paved, right? They're still dirt roads.
But it looks like there's a sidewalk, so...
Yeah, but then the zombies coming out of the dirt road, so who knows? What's next? What's going on with all top Comic 16?
Damn!
Nice little squid action.
Yeah, Matt Baker.
Woman with a squid. What else can you ask for?
A CGC 7.5 sold for $8,250, and it was what kind of pedigree?
So this is just
what kind of pedigree was that?
Okajima.
Okay.
Pedigree. So the Okajima pedigree is definitely probably one of the coolest stories in terms of pedigree, because it was a woman, like a girl who started collecting when she lived in an internment camp during wartime. She was put in an internment camp because she had Japanese heritage. She was like mixed Japanese and American, I believe. So she had collected all these comics, and they have a little bit of a story about it. They kind of know a little bit of her history, but they don't know how she kept them in such good shape. So a lot of them sell for good money now. This book particularly pretty much never sells, at least graded. The last one it sold, I think, was... the previous high was the same grade. It was $2,200. But that was in 2011. So that was 7 years ago.
So
since
yes, not a lot of copies have come to market, I guess.
not a lot are coming up. Yeah,
Oh, dude,
this
it's
one did
gorgeous.
not. Yeah, it's a sweet cover. This one did not have from what I could tell on the terrible picture on the listing, did not have the Okajima written on the cover like a lot of them do, and that's how they're able to tell a lot of the pedigrees. I think about a third of them did. They do have a certificate with them, or they did when at the time of the estate sale of them. But I don't think this one did. So it's just a cool story. I think that's probably why it sold so high, was because it had that pedigree label. But very cool story, cool cover, cool book. I mean, that's honestly, I never seen the book before as far as the cover.
Yeah,
That's up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there in terms of Baker work for me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a Fox Features book, right?
Could be. Yeah,
What do you mean?
it is Fox.
Explain.
Yeah. It's a Fox.
Okay. See the
No.
the thing down the left?
Yeah, it's a Fox.
Oh, yeah. Where it says All-Star.
And those books are impossible in any grade. I mean, there's so few of them. They're always in tough shape. I mean, it's just that's just like a real treasure and such a beautiful story, man. I'm glad you were able to spot that sale.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I channeled my inner Niko on that one.
It's good stuff.
The only other thing I wanted to talk about was
What about that Chamber of Chills 19?
what about that Chamber of Chill 19? What about it?
Chamber of Chills 19 CBCS 4.0 sold for $38.50.
Yeah.
I think that's right about GPA though. Well, CGC GPA obviously that was a CBCS it sold. Not that that matters that much. I don't think for a book like that.
It's weird, man, because sometimes like you have to see the book. Like sometimes at certain times in their grading, you're like 4.5 CGC all day. Other times you're like 3.5 CGC all day. You know what I mean? I wish there was some consistency there, but there's not. I'm gonna have to take a look at it. Either way, big sale, cool book, and one I'm particularly fond of.
Yeah, the only other two things I wanted to talk about, I guess, was like the book we talked about last week, Marvel Celebrates Stan Lee. It seems to continuously sell, so it seems to be doing way better.
Oh, didn't they change some sort of policy at Marvel where if you get caught selling Stan Lee memorabilia, you get fired?
No, according to Bleeding Cool, if you sell the program they give you, they're either not going to invite you back or they're going to fire you. But I don't know if I doubt there's any legitimacy to that. Again, it's Bleeding Cool reporting it, so it probably is nothing whatsoever.
There goes Rich Johnson from the Facebook group, and he's gone. We're down to 14 members.
What are you talking about?
I'm just joking.
Bad joke. The Comic Book War Facebook group has over 700 members. And it's clearly a great thing.
I liked it better when we did it my way.
$6.99 now.
Yeah, $6.99.
Then the other thing was Watchmen. Did we talk about this? Watchmen.
We didn't talk about this
people
last
watched
week.
Watchmen at New York Comic Con, and the plot kind of leaked. So it looks like it might be an adaptation of Doomsday Clock, or at least characters from Doomsday Clock appear in it. So Doomsday Clock 1, which is already a $20 book, seems like a no-brainer book to be grabbing if you can find any copies of it.
I can't believe that book's $20.
I know.
Did.
And it really dried up on secondary sites, not like eBay, but other retail sites. I didn't realize that series was that popular. I think partially because I tuned it out because...
Well, fuck, if you read it, I mean, what...
Well, Frank
I gave up a long time ago.
Frank Miller.
It was
Crank it out.
Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. But there was a lot of delays. Yeah, a lot of monthly delays. Maybe the delays.
Nicest way to say it.
But maybe the delays somehow tied in with this TV show. Who knows?
It's an interesting
people are saying that the TV show is just one season and that there's no more than that. People are saying that it happens after the books. So I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. I am really excited to see it, especially after seeing The Boys and seeing some of the set pictures from the second season of The Boys. So I'm really excited for The Watchmen. So
Yeah, me too. Actually, I'll be
Previews look
stoked.
good.
Sunday,
Yeah.
bloody
is it this
Sunday.
That's good.
Yeah. Plus,
It comes
HBO
out-
doesn't make bad TV.
Uh,
Look, their first episode of like every show they've ever made was great.
time out.
Their
No,
second
no.
season, maybe
I
not
want
so
you.
much.
Let's revisit Boardwalk Empire.
I love Boardwalk Empire.
The first episode is the worst episode of the whole season.
But you still got
the series
Steve
is fantastic.
I'm
But the
sorry.
first episode is the worst episode.
Yeah, I should have said the first season. I apologize if I misspoke. I
Oh,
mean, I've seen them like Game of Thrones, for example. Sometimes they do it better, but the point is they make great TV.
Yeah, for sure. I just think the first episode of Boardwalk Empire is so bad that
Trash.
it turns people off of the show, and people don't watch how great the show is. I was recently watching it, so that's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, and I imagine Watchmen will be a slow burn. I don't think they're going to go bananas out the gate. I think they'll just pose a lot of questions and leave people kind of scratching their head.
Well, I don't know if you watched, like, they have Righteous Gemstones just ended, and that's a pretty good show. So I mean, HBO has some great stuff going on. We'll see. Anything else you guys want to talk about this week?
Nothing I can think of.
I don't believe so.
So
Yeah,
looks like that's it.
Sorry if we didn't respond to the live chat. I didn't do a good job of doing that, but that's only because I wasn't really that well prepared for the podcast.
So yeah, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Comicbookspeculation.com. We'll have a bunch of stuff. Friday we have Niko's great article, and John. I love talking to John and Niko because they both help me write better articles. What else? Is there anything else? I don't think there's.
I'm going to
else.
Baltimore.
Oh yeah, Niko's going to Baltimore. So if you go to Baltimore, remember his face. It's a very punchable face. I suggest you do that.
Definitely check his boxes for his underpriced stuff.
Oh yeah, you're set up at Baltimore.
Good stuff.
I'm only bringing a couple boxes
what's your booth
to a
number?
friend's table. I do not know, but it's I'll be with the guys at Moving Picture Comics.
Okay, guys, remember that Moving Picture Comics 5-finger discount. Have some good times.
Jesus, man.
I'm the worst. I'm not a good person. Anyways, we'll catch
Yeah,
you
what
guys
about my
next week.
friends? But don't steal from me, not my
And
friends.
no, don't steal from them. Also, I think the e-comics porn guys are set up there, so you should have some fun. We'll catch you next week.
Back to Jimmy's Grinder account.
Sorry for the terrible intro and I guess terrible outro as well. Okay, next week. Bye now.